Okay, hi. It's Wednesday. I know this video is coming a little late this week, and I apologize for that. So let's jump right in. Last week, we had our second week dealing with the capital budgeting, and we focused on present value and net present value. And the key theme there, right, was that the value of a dollar in your hand today is more than a dollar in your hand tomorrow. So that if you're going to think about uh, the value or the net value of revenues coming in and expenses going out over time, you have to um, translate or translate those dollar flows into a constant dollar value, and we do that by giving all flows of money in and out um a present value. And if you then add up the net present value of a series of years, you then get what is known as the net present value of a series of net cash flows in and out over time. And that allows you to figure out whether, on a strictly financial basis, whether different possible ways of spending money and making capital investments uh, is financially a positive gain for you, a neutral, or a financial loss for you. Okay, I haven't done your, haven't graded your assignments from last week, so I can't say whether you understand the concept well or not, but hopefully I'll get to those papers Friday at the latest. Okay, this coming week we talk about risk. And it's a sort of a misnomer to say at this time in the course we're going to talk about risk, because we've actually been talking about it from the very beginning of the course. When we talk about um, establishing a liquidity target, we then talk about budgeting, we then talked about capital budgets. So throughout the course we've been talking about trying to manage risk by preparing for uncertainties. But this week in particular, we're going to talk about risk in two ways. One, we talk about risk in terms of the risk of theft um, by employees or other outside people. And there's some readings about that this week. But the main point there is simply it goes back to that second fundamental component of a sound financial system, and that is that you have good policies and procedures in place that talk about how financial decisions are made and how financial transactions are done on a day-to-day basis. And if you have good policies and procedures and you actually follow those policies and procedures, then you will minimize the risk of people stealing from your organization. But there's also another aspect of risk, which I think is a lot more important, frankly, and that has to do with the uncertainty of the future, right? If we knew what the future was going to be, there'd be no problem. We just say, oh, well, that's going to happen next month, or that's going to happen next quarter, or it's going to happen next year. So to prepare for that, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. Well, we don't have crystal balls, right? So we have to make our financial decisions uh, on the best possible information we have, but knowing that it's not a certainty. So this comes into this becomes relevant, particularly when you think about taking on debt in order to finance your growth in an organization. Remember that as, there are only two ways to grow an organization. One is by gaining profits and then reinvesting those profits, or by borrowing money and investing that money in your organization, hence taking on debt. Um, there's lots of good readings this week about things to consider when thinking about debt and whether your organization can afford debt. But just very quickly, right there are the financial ratios that we looked at earlier in the course, dealing with liquidity and debt load. And if those ratios look pretty good, well then I guess you can take on some debt. But if you're already um, if your liquidity is down and your debt load is high, you probably want to stay away from taking on additional debt. Um, but all of that then, right, relates to the future profitability of your organization, and whether you think you're going to be very profitable so you can make money back and get your liquidity up, so that you can pay down some of your debt with that profitability. But and that again then relates to your future cash flows and whether or not that's going to work for you. Um, Zietlow has that wonderful comment somewhere about how um, you need to that you can't lay off debt payments. In other words, like you can cut costs, but you can't cut the payments that you have to make on your debt. So you need to be really serious about being able to meet your debt payments in the future if you're going to take on debt. And the other side then about your ability to pay back debt has to do with other expenses. You know you're going to have the interest payment, but uh, we've talked about replacement cost of assets that you currently have and how depreciation only covers the replacement cost at the old price, at the price you bought the asset at, and not at the replacement value. And lastly, just to bring it up, employee benefits seem to always keep going up, particularly uh, medical benefits if you're offering them to your employees. So calculate in the growth in future expenditures as you're thinking about your ability to actually financially take on debt and repay it over time. Um, the other part here then is, are there tools that you can use to help you predict the future? And so we have a little bit, we touch on regression analysis just a little bit in the lecture. Um, know there that uh, while regression analysis is supposedly very precise, um, they're based upon past cause and effect relationships. There's no guarantee that those cause and effect relationships of the past will continue in the future. And a second aspect there is that uh, even in the even if the past relationships hold into the future, you still have to predict the independent value. And if you can't accurately predict the independent value in a regression analysis, um, your calculation of the dependent value will be proportionately off. Okay? Regression is beyond the scope of this course, but I just wanted to throw it out there so you'd have some familiarity with it. The other thing that is sort of beyond the scope of the course, but I really thought it would be important and useful for you to take a look at, is the quick analysis readings. Um, essentially, there are uh, things in the future that are probable, that are based on probabilities, so there's no certainty to begin with. So you have to sort of figure out what's the probability of certain outcomes happening, and what is your preference for those possible outcomes. Again, it's sort of beyond the scope of this course, but I thought it was really important for you to be exposed to this sort of decision analysis methodology, and there is an extended PowerPoint presentation that walks you through a very, very simple quick analysis decision tree methodology. So it's there. Hopefully it'll be useful to you. Frankly, I include the quick analysis in this course because over the course of my career and in my personal life, I have found the um, methodology incredibly helpful. Um, and its main help is that it forces you to really quantify feelings about different preferences and different possible probabilities, and in forcing you to do that, it helps you to clarify some of your own thoughts and keeps you from spinning around and around and around. Okay? I think that's all for now. Again, 413-237-7475. I got some phone calls last week. I appreciated them, and feel free to call at any point. Okay? Thanks.